Step 1, take your center caps off. That way you're not scratching them out. You're not scratching them out that bad. The socket doesn't get stuck. You do not have to use a snap-on screwdriver. Just gonna break them loose. And remember, Toyota, they don't have to be crazy tight. If you really crank on them, they do not like life. I've had to replace a lot of studs for a lot of Toyotas. So always consult your owner's manual for torque specs, which will show. Real lock key. There you go. So there's our lifting point right there for the Toyotas. There's the cross member. Get in front of the lifty. Lifty. I swear, Toyota always had a really bad reputation for the threads seizing up. I can't think of hundreds of them in my mechanic career that I've had that just locked up. I mean, OG stuff, but also too, over torquing them isn't good either on these. You don't have to put a lot of torque on these type of these lug nuts, unlike an acorn nut. Pulls against a flat surface. Definitely a good time to check your brakes, your brake pads. Look for any hot spots on the rotors. Yeah, you got plenty of meat on there. If you're getting hot spots on the rotors, cracks in the rotors, always a good time to make sure all your suspension linkage is nice and tight. No ABS, 4x4 connections loose or messed up. Good. And brakes, make sure your brake hoses. You know, obviously our suspension and control arms. All right, so our stock tires here are the Goodyear Wrangler with Kevlar. They're 265 70/16s. And honestly, a little disappointing. At 20,000 miles, the inside there is at 7/32. See as we move around. Yeah, we got a 6. Yeah, so our tread life is going down on these guys, so hitting in the 6s. So it's really 12/32 new. So looking a little sad there. So, and they're expensive. They're more than these. And these guys, a little over 13/32 new. A lot of good reviews on the Falcon Wild Peak AT3s. I mean, I'm pressing all the way down. There's no cheating here. 13/32, so really good aggressive tire. Also too, you know, need something for when it's wet out. It rains a lot here. There's a lot of sand. Not necessarily need a snow tire, which is not, but they actually can be used for snow as well. It's really good tread on them. But here's a big thing, especially in the sand. You need something that, as the tire goes down, some sidewall bite, and that really helps hook up in the sand, get you going. Our sand's no joke, so figure go with the 265 70/17s. So went up an inch in tire size. So approximately 31.7 inches. And definitely want to do something extra on there. So doing the TRD 17s, the same TRDs you'd use for like a 4Runner. This sizing and offset. Definitely digging it. Don't want to do nothing too crazy, too extreme, but that way it fits the truck good. That way it's gonna made up good, and also have the A-arm clearance as well. So our offset there being appropriate. It was like a -6 or 8. I have to double check, but nothing too crazy. Again, that way we can have the clearance to the A-arm. And our guys there at Conlin, they did a great job. Able to get these guys balanced with not a crazy amount of weight. So, and here's our biggest thing. Our biggest thing is our A-arm clearance. What is our clearance between the tire and the A-arm? It's So that's why we went with our correct offset. Just go nice and easy by hand. I'm gonna scratch these guys. I like the 17s a little better than the 16s, even though you get them for 16s as well, but that's a really meaty tire. You can run a 265 75 16. For me personally, I mean, this is me. Also, too, this is my daily commuter. Yeah, you need to have so much. That's a lot of tire tread print. 265 is a huge tread print actually and that's what it is stock. But that is a big tread print for such a small truck. Compared to like something what I'm used to, like F250s, F350s, you know, dualies. That's what I'm used to. I have a few other goodies, just little things here and there that I'm doing. I think these are acceptable for right now. Keep everybody posted. I'm trying to delete all the chrome off this truck, but I messed up. Forgot to order my lug nuts, so I gotta use these for right now. Now we just give it a little tiny ugga-dugga. All right, so what is wheel offset? Well, wheel offset basically is the thing about the front of the wheel, how far inset or out it is from the center hub to mounting to the rotor and hub assembly, right? That's what wheel offset is. So by knowing what your wheel offset is, you can now determine better what type of wheels to pick. I didn't really want wheels that stuck out way too hard, because the further you bring the wheel out from the hub, the faster your hubs start to, well, really go bad. That's the honest truth of that. So if you have a lot of space, if you do a lot of spacers or anything like that, I mean, now if you're cool with that, great, no big deal. No more power to you, but it does change your driving dynamics. So obviously with the stock wheels, you don't have too much, what, about 1.5 inches realistically, safely between the upper control arm, even less once you start to get your finger in there, between the upper control arm and the tire. Okay, so probably about 1 inch. So we safely could go up one size in tire size to make the same as those. Let's go to our other wheels. So our stock wheels are approximately about a -3, -4 offset. These are -6, and there clearly is an easier, about 2 inches. It's about 1.5 inches, you know, from the top of the tread. But obviously this tire, you know, the tire has a little bit of a bubble to it, so once you get your finger in there, it's about 1 inch. Well, I can easily clear this no problem, a lot easier by hand. And then that's what you want. You want it to be clear. So our clearance is much better. Again, this is just me personally. I just wanted them just at least the tire to be about up to the fender flare, which it is so a little more than the stock. And looking over top of it, you just see just the edge of the tire sticking out a little bit past that where the stock wasn't. So we got about a 1/2 inch more of tire, you know, coming out from the rim. So this is a -6 offset. The other thing too, why I went with these tires have more contact patch than the stock Goodyears. They should have more tread hitting the ground with the same dimensions. So that's another thing. Look at how much contact patch do you have. This is about letting 9 inches of tread touching the road, and they're the same 265s. That way we wouldn't have any clearance issues, right? By changing wheels and tires. And obviously so, no problem. Like literally my hand has plenty in there. And then going back, and I haven't changed anything. Now this is the way this truck is stock. This is a stock. This is a TRD off-road, so they don't have some of those valences and stuff. Maybe some of the street trucks might have more of that, but there's plenty back here. Even if the tire, even the suspension comes up, there's plenty back there. So even on full lockout, with it being up on its end, it won't have a problem clearing. So if I need something just to, especially through the sand, have a little fun with the kids, to take the truck, carry the truck through. This is a pretty long truck. This one's a long bed. So again, here's our stock tread width from the Goodyears, and they are both 265s, but these are contacting the ground 8 inches, and these Falcon Wild Peaks literally are giving you closer to 9 inches. So now looking over top of it, yeah, so closer to like 9 inches, so almost an inch more, even though they're the same profile diameter. So there's more contact, and especially on the sand, that'll definitely give you a lot more bite, sand, mud, whatever, without having to even make the tire wider. So look at what kind of tires you want to get. Makes a huge difference. So yeah, we're gonna put these Goodyear Stranglers to rest. Okay, this is the lock key. Okay, that's the lug nut. This is the lock nut. See, it takes a little key to put in. Okay, that's just a socket. Okay, we're gonna need that too a little later. Yeah, we'll use that in a little bit. Give a little light tap there, and we'll torque it down by hand. Just seat it down. Lower the truck down a little bit. Let's get out our trusty torque wrench. Okay. And we're locked in at 83 foot-pounds manufacturer specs. So we just let the vehicle down a little bit on its front tires. Now we're going to go at least torque the front tires down. And the other thing too with the type of lug nuts the Toyotas have, they don't have to have a lot of torque because A, they have a washer, and the other thing too, we're just holding it nice and tight and snug against the hub, so it's centered. That's for sure. Look at my socket. I'm just jumping it. On to the next. Okay, all good. Good. Ran out of room there. Let's go over this change. And you want to do it in an X pattern to get a good even torque on it. And the more even your torque is, the better also too that cools your brakes. Your rims have a lot to do with cooling your brakes. So if it's inefficient, you just hammer down on one end, you're actually going to create a hot spot on that one end. So obviously the lug nuts, each point is a point of contact. Even is good. All right, let's go on one more time. This thing will not let us go past. What we're doing. In fact, it's not saying you got to have a snap-on torque wrench, but as you're applying pressure, this guy will let you know what it's registering. So just got a hair more out of each one. Again, that's why I say go around one more time. Hold the end of the torque wrench. All right. Put our center caps on and go to the rear. Moment of truth. Don't scratch it. Whew. Looking good. This is way tougher than it looks.